At a party, her friend asked, "Is he your boyfriend?" She laughed and said, "No, he just spends on me." So I walked out, exposed her double life, and left her with nothing. 5 hours later, 20 missed calls. It was a normal evening when I decided to join my girlfriend at a party her friends had organized. I had been with her for almost a year at that point, and even though our relationship had its ups and downs, I believed we were serious about each other. I worked hard every single day, saving money, taking extra shifts, and cutting back on my own wants, just so I could provide her with the comforts she desired. Whenever she mentioned something she wanted, whether it was a dress, a pair of shoes, or even an expensive dinner, I would find a way to get it for her. I thought that was my role as someone who loved her. I believed that sacrifice and care were signs of true affection. So when she invited me to this party, I took it as an opportunity to be part of her social circle, to finally blend in with her friends and be seen as her partner, not just a background character in her life. I remember spending a long time choosing what to wear. I didn't want to look out of place among her stylish friends, so I put on my best shirt, my cleanest pair of shoes, and even sprayed the cologne I kept for special occasions. In my heart, I wanted her to feel proud to have me beside her. When we arrived, everything felt normal at first. The music was playing, people were laughing, and the whole room carried that energy of youth and carefree living. I stayed close to her, trying to support her comfortably without being overbearing. We walked around. She introduced me casually to a couple of people, and I felt good being there. But then came a moment that changed everything for me. One of her friends, a girl who seemed very outspoken and direct, looked at me and then turned to my girlfriend. With a curious smile, she asked, "So, is he your boyfriend?" I waited, almost excited, to hear her answer. This was the moment I had been waiting for, a simple recognition of who I was to her. I wanted her to say, "Yes, this is my boyfriend," and maybe even hold my hand a little tighter. That would have made me feel valued, seen, and respected. But what happened instead felt like a sharp knife in my chest. She laughed. Not a nervous or shy laugh, but a loud, carefree laugh that drew attention from people around us. Then she said, "Oh no, he's not my boyfriend. He's just someone who spends on me." In that instant, the music faded away in my mind. The laughter of the room turned into a hollow echo. I stood there, smiling weakly, but inside I felt like the ground had opened beneath me. I couldn't believe what she had just said. To her friends, it was a joke, something to laugh about. But to me, it was the truth revealed in the cruelest possible way. I wasn't her partner. I wasn't her love. I was just a wallet, a source of money, a tool she used to fulfill her desires. I remember standing there, trying to control my expression. I didn't want to cause a scene. I didn't want to show everyone how deeply I was hurt. So I excused myself politely, saying I needed some air. I walked out onto the balcony, breathing slowly, trying to process what had just happened. The cold night breeze hit my face, but it wasn't enough to cool down the fire of humiliation burning inside me. For so long, I had believed that my efforts, my sacrifices, my hard work would be enough to earn her respect and love. But in that one sentence, she stripped away all illusions I had built around our relationship. She had defined me, not as a partner, but as a provider. And the worst part was that she didn't even say it in private. She said it loudly in front of people without a second thought. That was how little she valued me. After a few minutes, I went back inside, but something in me had already changed. I wasn't the same person who walked into that party. I stood quietly in the corner, watching her enjoy herself, laughing with friends, acting like nothing had happened. She didn't even realize that her words had shattered me. Or maybe she did, and she just didn't care. That night, when we left the party, I dropped her off at her apartment. She kissed me on the cheek casually, like everything was normal, and said, "Thanks for coming with me tonight." I smiled weakly and nodded. But deep inside, I knew things would never be the same again. That night when I reached back home, I sat down in silence and tried to collect my thoughts. The words she had said at the party kept ringing in my ears over and over again. "He is not my boyfriend. He just spends on me. I could not understand how someone who held my hand in public, someone who told me every morning that she loved me, could turn around and reduce me to just a wallet in front of her friends. It was not just the words that hurt, but the laughter that followed. She did not even care about the way I looked at her when I heard it. She brushed it off like I was invisible. That cut deep into my heart in a way I cannot even explain. I tried to convince myself that maybe she said it as a joke. Maybe she was just nervous or wanted to look funny in front of her friends. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that jokes carry the weight of truth. People laugh, but they speak their real feelings without thinking. She did not even try to clarify or correct herself. She did not reach out to me that night to say sorry. She did not even notice how broken I felt while sitting quietly at that party table, pretending to smile and pretending everything was fine. That silence from her told me everything I needed to know. The next day, I decided not to call her first. I waited to see if she would text or call me. Morning passed, afternoon passed, evening came, but my phone screen remained empty. No good morning message. No, are you okay? Nothing at all. Felt like she did not care whether I existed or not. And that made me understand that all the efforts, all the sacrifices, and all the love I had put into this relationship were not shared equally. I was holding on alone. She was just enjoying the benefits of my presence without ever valuing my heart. I remember sitting on my bed staring at the ceiling, thinking back to every single moment we shared. Every dinner bill I paid, every gift I bought, every ride I gave, every time I put her first, and how she gave me back nothing except empty promises and a few smiles when it was convenient. I thought about how many times I skipped buying things for myself just to save enough money to buy her something nice. She never noticed that. She never said thank you in a way that felt genuine. And then to go to a party and publicly announce that I was just spending money on her and nothing more, that was the final blow. I realized that night that walking away was the only way to save my self-respect. If I continued to stay, I would only be teaching her that it was okay to treat me that way. And if I allowed it once, she would do it again. Respect is something that once lost cannot be brought back easily. And for me, love without respect is empty. I deserve to be seen as a partner, not just as someone who pays bills. I deserve to be loved genuinely, not laughed at behind my back. The next morning I woke up with a heavy heart but a clear mind. I did not feel angry anymore, just tired. Tired of giving and never receiving. Tired of hoping she would change when deep inside I knew she never would. I picked up my phone, typed a short message, and sent it to her. I did not write a long paragraph. I did not explain every single emotion. I just wrote, "I heard what you said at the party. I deserve better. Take care." Then I put my phone down and promised myself I would not wait for her reply. She did call later that evening, but I did not pick up. She sent a few messages saying I was overreacting, that she was only joking, that her friends did not take it seriously. But I could see clearly now. It was not about the friends. It was about what she felt deep inside. She saw me as someone to spend on her, not someone to build a future with. I knew if I answered that call, I would end up listening to more excuses and empty words. So for the first time in a long time, I put myself first. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the pain started to fade. At first I missed her, or maybe I just missed the routine of having someone around. But then I realized what I really missed was the idea of love, not the person herself. Because real love would never make you feel small. Real love would never embarrass you in public. Real love would never make you doubt your worth. What I had with her was not love. It was just a temporary game that she enjoyed until I finally saw the truth. One evening I went out with a few friends of my own, and for the first time in months I laughed without forcing it. I felt light. I felt free. And I understood that sometimes losing someone who never valued you is not a loss at all. It is a blessing. It opens the door to a life where you can grow, where you can be respected, and where you can someday find a person who will hold your hand proudly and call you their partner without any hesitation. Looking back now, I am actually grateful that she said those words at the party. If she had kept pretending a little longer, I might have spent more years of my life on someone who did not deserve even a month. Her cruel honesty that night was the doorway to my freedom, and I walked through it without looking back.